Yeah, this is an interesting story that Leander kind of fished this out of a Washington Post, Wall Street Journal story, talking about how doctors are recommending people that recommend that people wear Apple Watches. They're increasingly using it as a way to monitor people's health, right? Well, one of the little details in this thing is there's this Dutch doctor who says that it can that the Apple Watch, unlike Apple says can't do this, right? But this Dutch doctor says, hey, Apple Watch can detect a leading cause of heart attacks, and he is encouraging people to study whether or not this can be used. I just give the brief background on this, right? So this is a doctor named I believe it's a Ruud Ruud Koster, cardiologist from Amsterdam. He accidentally discovered that he had a potentially fatal heart blockage that caused myocardial ischemia. That's when your heart doesn't get enough oxygen and blood. So he wrote a paper about his experience and now recommends the Apple Watch be studied for its ability to alert wearers about potentially deadly heart blockage. And the weird thing about this is this guy, he had a history of a family history of heart disease, and he was on, I believe, drugs for cholesterol.
Yep.
But he didn't think like, oh crap, I'm having a heart attack. He went to the gym, and afterwards he just sat down and for some reason he decided, oh, I'm going to check my ECG, and he did it a couple of times, and he looks at it, he notices that of course he's a cardiologist, right? So he understands this stuff, and this is one reason I'm sure that Apple doesn't advertise this as a feature, right? Because you have to be like a cardiologist to look at this and say, wow, look, this is weird. This is showing that I've got a major blockage in my arteries. And so he had no chest pain, no nothing like that. Um, he just like by accident almost using his Apple Watch discovered he had this potentially deadly thing. It causes supposedly like more than 1 million deaths in United States per year.
Wow.
Right, that's according to Cleveland Clinic. So Koster said it works, and this is from his paper. The use for detecting myocardial ischemia is not endorsed by Apple, but is documented in this case. Documented, he said. Before, during, and after the episode, he talking about the doctor, he was completely asymptomatic for chest pain, shortness of breath, dizziness, or palpitations. But the Apple Watch noticed this weird thing, and this weird like way that his heart responded after this exercise, and I don't know. It's a pretty interesting story. I love the way that the Apple Watch watches all this stuff in the background. One of the things that I think Leander was talking about, or somebody was saying, like, well, maybe if Apple can like fine tune an algorithm that could spot that kind of thing, right? I mean, that's the problem, right? Like, this guy noticed it because he's a cardiologist. So, I mean, it was kind of mind blowing. I'm used to these stories of people having atrial fibrillation spotted by Apple Watch, and that causes them to go to the doctor and get checked out. This is like and that's basically the main use case for the Apple Watch, right? The main way that we've seen it saving people's lives. But this is a pretty interesting one, and it basically it shows what it's capable of and what Apple. I mean, for whatever reason, Apple doesn't probably even have the time and money to go and get things sort of FDA approved for all these different sort of off-label uses, but it's like it's more powerful than you might know is what I'm saying.
It's more powerful than they can say.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting story.
Yeah, that's kind of
cool.
In
my opinion.
And if you're a cardiologist, you can just self-diagnose. So that's handy. All cardiologists
you
should
can share all that stuff with doctors, and doctors can see it. And I don't know. I'm a big fan.
Tell you if you're about to
feel like I should do an ECG right now.
You are awful sweaty. You feel okay? I get you into those coat cloths just to
the
dab.
Excitement, just the excitement of the podcast.